हरि ओम। ओ ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गाय नमः। ओम राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं। भवानी शङ्करौ वन्दे श्रद्धाविश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धा स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः। बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगता अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः शिवाय 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 ॐ नमः शिवाय। नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम हरि ओम। today we have reached 108th day and the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So before we study this 9th chapter, let us go back and briefly revise all that we have done, because we should not forget what we have learnt. We should understand the whole Bhagavad Gita as one unit. Then only we will be able to understand the real depth of this teaching of Bhagwan. So Bhagavad Gita is the very essence of the Vedas. Therefore, if we study the Gita, it is like studying all the Shastras. Gita sugita kartavyaha kim anya shastra vistaraihi ya swayam padmanabhasya mukha padmad vinishruta. If we study Gita, then there is no need to study other scriptures, because it is the very essence of all the Shastras and revealed directly by Ishvara as Krishna. So there are these 18 chapters in Gita. The first chapter, called Arjuna Vishada Yoga, is like a diagnosis of our problem. When we go to let us say, a doctor, if we have some medical issues, the first thing the doctor should do is to diagnose exactly what is our problem. Similarly, when we approach a spiritual master, when Arjuna approached Bhagwan Sri Krishna, the first thing to be done is to diagnose the problem. And here, it is not only Arjuna's problem, but through Arjuna, Bhagwan is giving this solution to all of us. So our basic problem for our sorrow and suffering is ignorance of our own self, not knowing ourselves as we are, having assumptions about ourselves. And with these assumptions, we live in this world experiencing joys and sorrows and fear and tragedy and different types of sufferings. The basic cause for all our suffering is not knowing ourselves as we are. Avidya of our own self. That avidya gives rise to shoka and moha. Shoka means different sufferings, sorrows. Moha, delusion, confusion. So this is what is revealed by studying this first chapter of Gita. Though Arjuna had his own specific outer problem, but the basic problem is ignorance of our own self. Hence, Bhagwan begins the teaching in the second chapter, and he reveals the identity of our self. Through Arjuna, Bhagwan reveals the identity of the self. Bhagwan says, "Hey Arjuna, you are that self, you are that Atma, which is neither born nor does it die, which is infinite, which is birthless, which is free from all modifications, all change, cannot be destroyed by fire, weapon, by water, by air. It's just indestructible, eternal self. That is what you really are. This body constantly changes. The world constantly changes. But you, the self, is eternal, unborn, unaffected by time. Realize that self. Recognize that self and become free of all your suffering. Become a Sthita Prajna. Become a Jivan Mukta and become free of all your sorrows. So this self-knowledge, self-realization can be attained in 2 steps broadly. The first step is through Karma Yoga. We have to purify our mind, which leads to self-knowledge. And then second step is to meditate and gain abidance in this knowledge and become free, gain moksha. So that the whole thing Bhagavan explained in the second chapter of Gita called Sankhya Yoga. Then he explained in detail the first step of Karma Yoga in the third chapter elaborately. We have to first recognize our duty. Each of us, we have our duty in this world. We are born in a particular family, we are born in a particular society, in a nation, in the world. We have duty towards ourselves, our family, our society, towards our birds and animals, towards other creatures, towards the Devatas, towards Ishvara. So recognize our duties and fulfill them as our service, as our seva of Ishvara. That is briefly what we call Karma Yoga. As we follow this path of Karma Yoga, our mind will start becoming more and more pure, and we will develop jidnyasa, that thirst to know myself will arise automatically in a pure mind. Driven by that thirst, I will approach a teacher and gain that knowledge. So in the fourth chapter, Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga, Bhagavan talks about the various Karma Yoga and Upasana which leads to purification of the mind. Then approaching a teacher, tadviddhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya, gaining that knowledge from the teacher and then meditating on that knowledge. But in order to help us in meditation, we have to become free of our attachment to actions. We have to drop our attachment to actions, drop our sense of doership in action, and meditate on ourselves. That dropping our doership and attachment to action is called Karma Sannyas. So, fifth chapter of Gita, Karma Sannyasa Yoga, Bhagavan discusses this elaborately. Bhagavan says, even when the actions are happening at the level of your body mind, know and hold on to this understanding that you, the Atma, is not a doer. Pashyan Shrinvan Sprishan Jigran Ashnan Gachan Swapan Shvashan Pralapan Nushrujan Grundhan Unmishan Nimishan Api. All these activities are happening. Naiva Kinchit Karomi Ti. I am not doing any of them. I, that self, I, that Pratyagatma, I, that innermost self, is not doing anything. Just as in my dream, in my deep sleep, all the activities of the body is happening, but I am not doing them. Similarly, now also, I am not doing any activities, they are all happening. So with this firm, conviction, when we drop our attachment to our actions and that sense of doership, we become fit for meditation. We become yoga rudha. We become fit for meditation. So Bhagwan in the 6th chapter discusses elaborately the path of meditation, in which he says that you have to focus your attention on your own self and gain abidance in yourself. Shanai shanai ruparamed buddhya dhriti grihitaya atma sanstam manakritva na kinchidapi chintayet. Slowly and steadily withdraw your attention from everything, place it in yourself. Thereafter, don't initiate any other thinking. Just remain abiding in your own self. And this self is not confined only to this body. Our innermost self is really that Brahma. This innermost self is all pervading. Though we are experiencing our own presence in this body, but the scripture says that I am Atma Brahma. This Atma is Brahma. So meditate on yourself as Brahma. Meditate on yourself as that Param Atma. That is the best, that is the ultimate meditation. One who can meditate on ourself as that Brahma is the best, will gain that moksha here and now. So who is this Brahma? What is his nature? That is revealed in the 7th chapter, Jnana Vijnana Yoga, wherein Bhagwan says that my Swarup is that Brahma, and with my own power, Prakriti, I express as this world. So this world is Karya, I am the Karana. But my Swarup, that Brahma, is beyond Karan also. So through this world, Bhagwan revealed his identity and told Arjuna that you should meditate on me, on that Nirgun Nirakar Brahma. And then you will realize myself. And once you know me, you will know me completely. You will know me not only as Brahma, you will know me as your own self. You will know me as this world. You will know me as Vaishvanara. You will know me as Hiranyagarbha. You will know me as all karma. These are different expressions of that one supreme reality. And you will know me at the time of death also. So what are all these expressions? Bhagwan revealed that in the 8th chapter, the Akshara Brahma Yoga. He gave the definition briefly of all his various facets and elaborately discussed what happens when a person remembers Ishvara and dies. When we remember Ishvara properly, knowing Ishvara properly, when remembering him when we leave this body, we attain Ishvara, we gain moksha. But if we don't remember Ishvara, or we don't we are not totally tuned to Ishvara, we are not tuned to his Nirgun Nirakar Swarupa, we are tuned to him as Hiranyagarbha Vaishvanara, and through dharana we meditate on him. Then after that we will go to Brahmalok and then gain moksha, Krama Mukti. And others who don't follow this path, they will again be born in this world. Therefore Bhagavan says, you remember me all the time, even while doing your duties. So that Bhagavan discussed this path of Uttarayan, Dakshinayan, Dharana Yoga, Krama Mukti, all these things he discussed in the 8th chapter. Now in the 9th chapter, Bhagavan again, because this 8th chapter was elaborately discussed due to that question which was raised by Arjuna. But Bhagavan had started revealing his identity in the 7th chapter. So he continues that topic here in the 9th chapter also. Also Bhagavan says that though I spoke about the Dakshinayan Marga, Uttarayan Marga and going to Brahmalok and Krama Mukti and all, and the Dharana Yoga, but this is not the only way of attaining moksha. You can attain moksha here and now by recognizing me properly and having that supreme Ananya Bhakti towards me. Through this Ananya Bhakti, which was mentioned briefly in the 8th chapter, Bhagavan says that you can gain moksha here and now. While living in this world, you can become free. For that you have to understand me properly, know my real nature. The more you know me, the better you know me, the more you will come closer to freedom. Because that knowledge alone will make us free. As I had said, in the main problem is avidya, ignorance of our own self. So knowledge of ourself alone will make us free. We are not physically bound. We are not bound actually. We assume that we have bondage because of ignorance. So when we gain that proper knowledge, we will become free. So self-knowledge, that self is Brahma. So Brahma Vidya is what we have to acquire. Atma Vidya or Brahma Vidya should be attained properly. See, though this topic comes and we have been talking about it again and again, but it has to click. Therefore, we have to listen to it afresh till it clicks properly. Because only when it clicks, that knowledge will dawn. See, like our match, we have a matchbox and there are matchsticks. But due to the humid weather, sometimes that matchstick becomes little soggy. So you take out that one matchstick and try to light it. It doesn't get lighted. You can see a little spark of fire as though coming out. But even when you try to light it, doesn't get lighted. But when that stick is properly dry, matchbox is also properly dry, then when we strike, immediately it catches fire. When it catches fire, it's a different level altogether. An ordinary stick which has not caught fire and a stick which has caught fire, there is a huge difference. Similarly, one may say that, oh, I have been listening to pravachans for so many years. I have been contemplating for many years. I have been meditating for many years. But did you catch fire? Is there a fire of knowledge which is burning within? If not, then our stick is soggy, wet. So we should dry it up and ignite it properly. Therefore, here in this 9th chapter, Bhagwan again reveals his identity very beautifully, so that wisdom, the fire of wisdom gets ignited within and destroys all our ignorance, and we gain moksha. So this is a very beautiful chapter. That way all chapters are beautiful, but this chapter is quite special. It's called Rajavidya Rajaguhya Yoga. Rajavidya means the yoga of royal knowledge. Means the yoga of the king of knowledge, the best knowledge. And the yoga of royal secret, the most mysterious knowledge. In this, Bhagwan not only reveals his Swarupa very beautifully, but he also talks about that bhakti, that supreme love, and how it is very easy to love Ishvara. So let us begin the study of this chapter. Okay? So let us chant the first shloka. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. अथ नवमोऽध्यायः. श्रीभगवानुवाच इदं तु ते गुह्यतमं प्रवक्ष्याम्यनसूयवे ज्ञानं विज्ञानसहितं यज्ञात्वा मोक्ष्यसे शुभात्. नवमोऽध्यायः, the 9th chapter, begins here. Bhagwan had, as I said, he spoke about his own nature in the 7th chapter. He revealed his own identity through his Prakriti. But exactly what is Bhagwan's nature? That is also revealed here in this chapter. And also Bhagwan tells us that we can attain this moksha here and now, going through dhyana yoga, through Sushumna Nadi, through Uttarayan, going to Brahmalok and attaining moksha. That is not the only way. We can gain moksha here in this world itself. So Shri Bhagavan Vacha, Bhagwan himself begins this chapter See, generally, Bhagwan replies to Arjuna's questions. But here, out of his own compassion, though Arjuna had not asked any questions, Bhagwan is revealing his own identity. That is the Karuna, Kripa of Ishvara. So, Shri Bhagavan Vacha, he says, Idantu te guhyatamam pravakshami anasuyave. Hey Arjuna, you are anasuya. Means you don't find faults in my teaching. See, this anasuya is a very beautiful quality. Asuya rahitaya, free from asuya. What is asuya? Asuya is to find faults in good things also. There are some people whose attention is only on faults. So much so that even in good things where there are no faults, they imagine some faults, some defect in them. That's called asuya, a very, very negative quality. It is there in many people. If you tell them about a good person, they will try to find some fault. Even our own avatars, Bhagwans, if you talk about Ramchandraji, they will find faults in his charitra. If you speak about Krishna, they will find fault in him. If you talk about Bhagavad Gita, they will find faults. If you talk about Shankaracharya ji, they will find fault. They will find fault in the path. They will find fault in the goal. They will find fault in dharma. They will find fault in Ishvara. And once we find fault, we will not be motivated to proceed on that path. If you are convinced that it is defective, you will not proceed. Not only they find fault in that which is good, but they also try to see something good in that which is definitely faulty and wrong. In adharma, they will try to see something good. In a bad, negative person, they will try to see something good and try to raise that person. That is a very, very defective quality which will not help. Scriptures talk about values. Ahimsa, Satyam, Asteya, Brahmacharya, Aparigraha. They are eternal values. Ahimsa. But you will find people finding fault in ahimsa. People finding faults in Satyam. Finding fault in Asteya, Brahmacharya, Aparigraha. And praising negative qualities like anger, jealousy, hatred, violence. So these are the defects of our mind. If we have this defect, then it is very difficult to follow this path. Bhagwan says, hey Arjuna, you are not like that. Anasuyave, asuya rahitaya. You are free from this quality, bad quality. You don't see fault unnecessarily. Therefore, I am encouraged to teach you, to guide you One who tries to find faults in everything, even a teacher will say, okay, you follow whatever you want to do. May God bless you. But one who has got faith in the teacher, one who doesn't find fault in the teacher, one who doesn't find fault in the teacher's teaching, one who has great reverence and devotion to the teacher will be inspired and encouraged to guide and teach such a student. Arjuna was like that. He had great reverence and love for Bhagwan Krishna. He did not find defect in his teaching. Even though he may not like he did not like to fight this war, he did not find defect in Bhagwan's teaching. He accepted it. He understood that that is true, that is proper, what Bhagwan is teaching is proper. So this quality of Anasuya is very important. So Attri and Anasuya, that name, Attri Rishi and Anasuya, his wife, together gave birth to Dattatreya. Bhagwan himself was born there. So one who has gone beyond the three gunas, one who is free from that negative quality of Asuya, in his bosom will be born Ishvara, as though he will realize Ishvara. Also it is said, Bhavani Shankara Vande Shraddha Vishwasa Rupinam Yabhyam Vinana Pashyanti Siddha Swantas Tamishwaram. Without Shraddha and Vishwas, who are like Parvati and Shiva, without Shraddha Vishwas, one will not be able to recognize Ishvara who is residing in our own heart. So Arjuna had this great Shraddha and total freedom from this negative quality of Asuya. Therefore Bhagwan says, tell you this great secret I will reveal to you. Idan tu te guhyatamam pravakshami. Guhyatamam, guhya means secret. Guhyatara is a superlative degree. Guhyatama is the superlative. The most, the top secret. Guhya, guhyatara, guhyatama. Secret, more secret, the most secret, the topmost secret. The knowledge of Atma as Brahma is that top secret which is revealed in the Upanishads, in our Shastra. Because this cannot be known by ourselves by any method. It's not possible. Maximum we can know that I am the Sakshi of this world. But my relationship with this world I will not know by whatever contemplation and meditation. This identity is revealed by Upanishads. Because outwardly we understand myself and the world as different. But basically the essence of me and the world is same. This secret is revealed in the Upanishads. That basically I and this world is Ishvara only. So I and Ishvara are one. This world is Brahma. I and that Brahma is one. This oneness, this identity is revealed in the Upanishads. It's a top secret. It's most mysterious. Even after it is told, we fail to comprehend it. It is such a great secret that even when it is revealed, we fail to comprehend it. Therefore, in the second chapter, Bhagavan had said that Ascharyavat pashyati kashidenam. One looks at it as a great wonder. So, the topmost great secret of our own Supreme Self and its identity with Brahma, which cannot be understood through logic, which cannot be arrived at through logic, which cannot be arrived at through any experimentation, is revealed. So Bhagavan says, I will reveal that topmost secret to you because you are very dear to me. In the 4th chapter also Bhagavan says, had said about Arjuna that you are my friend and my devotee. Bhakto sime sakha cheti, you are my bhakt and my sakha. And here he said, you are free from that asuya. So idam tu te guhyatamam pravakshami, idam jnanam. This knowledge which Bhagavan will reveal, so this knowledge which can be appreciated when revealed by Bhagavan with our intellect, which can be experienced directly, Bhagavan says that knowledge, idam tu te guhyatamam pravakshami, I will reveal very well. Vakshami means I will tell. Pravakshami means very well, means very logically, systematically, rationally. I will reveal this to you. What? Jnanam Vijnana Sahitam. That Jnanam, self-knowledge, or Brahmajnana, the knowledge of that Supreme Brahma. Which is the direct cause for moksha. That knowledge, Vijnana Sahitam. Vijnana means Anubhava Sahitam, with experience. Knowledge along with its experience, I will reveal to you. Means my words will not only give you knowledge, but my words will directly give you experience. It's a very, very powerful thing. See, these words are very powerful. Somebody says something, we understand, and it can also give us experience. So words are such, they have such powers. Worldly words, they have great power. Words can give us joy, can give us sorrow, can give us pain, can give us pleasure, can bind us, can make us free also. So here Bhagavan will reveal those words which can make us free directly. Therefore Bhagavan says, ki Vijnana Sahitam, along with the Anubhav. So what is the greatness of this knowledge? Bhagavan says, Yad Jnatva Mokshase Ashubhat. Having gained this knowledge, having realized this knowledge, you will become free from the Ashubha. What Ashubha? From this samsara, which is a great what you call apavitra thing. Samsara is so apavitra, filled with sorrow and pain and suffering. Bhagavan says, you listen to me, you will not only gain knowledge but experience which will set you free. Which will set you free. Say a person is sleeping, let us say, and having a bad dream, a nightmare. So you are looking at that person who is sleeping, and from the expression of his face and his breathing and the movement of his eyes within, one can guess that this person is having a bad dream. And that person can remain in that dream for a long time. But you who are awake, you have the power to shake him or to call him, call his name and wake him up. Our words have the power to penetrate into his dream and wake him up. It's very, very interesting actually. In his dream, he will be able to hear our words. And he will wake up. Like a miracle. He is being chased by a wild tiger in his dream. He is so scared. Then he hears his own name being called, as though mysteriously, Akashvani type. And something happens, it triggers something, and he just wakes up. And when he opens his eyes, he sees me in front of him. He says, "Oh, thank you so much. I was having such a bad dream, and you woke me up. Your words woke me up." Similarly, this whole samsara is like a bad dream. We are experiencing sorrow, suffering, pain, fear. Bhagwan is awake. We are asleep. We are sleeping due to our avidya. But Ishvara is awake. He never sleeps. He is always awake. Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swarupaha. So Ishvara calls us by our name. He calls that Atma. We can hear him and we can wake up. So that's what Bhagavan says here, Arjuna. You don't see defect in my teaching. I will now give you that knowledge which will wake you from this samsara. So jnanam vijnana sahitam yad jnatva moksha se ashubhat. Shankaracharya ji, he writes कि इदम एव सम्यक ज्ञानम साक्षात मोक्ष प्राप्ति साधनम. दिस knowledge is sakshat moksha prapti sadhan. Knowledge makes us free. What knowledge? Vasudeva sarvamiti, that everything is that Vasudev, that Brahma. Atma eva idam sarvam, that myself, I myself am everything. Ekameva advitiyam Brahma, that everything is that one supreme Brahma alone. In this way, the scriptures also says that this knowledge sets you free. अथ ये अन्यथा तो विदुः अन्य राजानः ते क्षय्य लोका भवन्ति. And those who don't get this knowledge, who thinks that I am different, this world is different, Ishvara is different, they are born again and again in this samsara. So this secret knowledge, top secret knowledge, Bhagavan says, I will reveal to you. So what is the speciality of this knowledge? Something more about this knowledge Bhagavan tells in the next verse. He praises this knowledge sky high. He says this is the most wonderful knowledge. There is nothing compared to this. It is invaluable. You cannot buy this. Even if you offer everything, it will be less. To the teacher also, one who has revealed this knowledge, whatever we offer to the teacher, it is less compared to the value of this knowledge. So in the next verse, Bhagavan says, Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitramidam Uttamam Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam Susukham Kartum Avyayam. Bhagavan says that this knowledge is Raja Vidya. It is the king of all the knowledge. Vidyanam Raja. Deepti Atishayatvat. Dipyate hi iyam Atishayena Brahma Vidya Sarva Vidyanam. This knowledge shines specially. See, like suppose there is darkness. We light a lamp. It removes darkness little bit wherever we have lit the lamp. But outside still it is dark. Even when the moon rises or moon is shining, full moon is shining, still it doesn't become totally bright. Still darkness is there. But when the sun rises, it dispels all darkness completely. Similarly, there are so many other knowledge will remove our ignorance about that little bit. Knowledge of A, knowledge of B, knowledge of C removes the ignorance of A, B, C. But still so many other things remain unknown. Also, the knowledge of the world doesn't remove our suffering. Knowledge of the world cannot give us moksha. Even if we become all knowing, even if we become even if we gain knowledge about so many things of this world, a very wise and intelligent person knowing so many things about the world will still be bound in this samsara. Only self-knowledge can make us free. Therefore, self-knowledge or Brahma Vidya is considered as Raja Vidya. Also, this Brahma Vidya is Raja Guhyam. It is the royal secret, means the topmost secret that we have seen. Because with whatever means of knowledge we have by ourselves, we can never know this. Through our senses, we cannot know because this is beyond the senses. Through our mind intellect, we cannot know. It is beyond our mind intellect. See, just as when we are in deep sleep, that is our self only. But we are cut off from our senses, we are cut off from our mind and intellect. So the mind and intellect cannot even touch that self. So how can they know the self? Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. The scripture says that even our speech and the mind tries to reach that self, but return without even touching it. So it cannot be understood through our worldly praman, worldly means of knowledge. We cannot know it through our experience also. We know Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, these are our experience. But though we have been experiencing this from the beginningless time, still we don't know ourselves. It is the greatest mystery. We can keep meditating till the cows come home. We will not know ourselves. Without the guidance of the teacher and scriptures, we will not be able to know ourselves. Therefore, it is called a Rajaguhya, the greatest secret. Even if we infer or even if we try to imagine, it will not be a convincing knowledge. So it is called Rajaguhya. And Pavitram idam uttamam. Also this knowledge, Bhagavan says, is Pavitram. Pavitram means it is a great purifier. Shankaracharya ji writes, कि पावनम सर्वेषां पावनानां शुद्धिकारणम इदं ब्रह्मज्ञानम उत्कृष्टमम अनेक जन्म सहस्र संचितम अपि धर्माधर्मादि समूलं कर्म क्षणमात्रात् भस्मीकरोति यतः अतः किम तस्य पावनत्वं वक्तव्यम. Shankaracharya ji says that this self-knowledge or Brahma Vidya is Pavitram Uttamam. It is the best purifier because it can purify our self like no other thing. That the ignorance which we are carrying from beginningless time and the defects which are caused by this ignorance which are there within us, which is causing us sorrow and pain. Bhagavan says this knowledge can just wipe them out instantly. See, when we are suffering, we go to find some solution in the world. Mental problem, we go to psychologist. They give some immediate solution, but it doesn't remove that problem totally. So the sorrows and pains are unending. The wealth, the pleasures, the positions in this world, or achievements of other lokas or siddhis cannot remove this suffering. The impurities which are there within our antakarana, which we are carrying from the time immemorial, from the beginningless time, they cannot be wiped out. Even if we live the whole life doing good work, but again we are born, and again we will have lot of impurities. Endlessly. We may do lot of punya karma, but it cannot be wiped out. But Bhagavan says, this Brahma Vidya can destroy all your impurities instantly. Therefore it is called Pavitram Idam Uttamam. It is the best, Uttama, best purifier. So Rajavidya, Rajaguhya, Pavitram idamuttamam, Pratyakshaavagamam, Dharmyam, Susukham, Kartum, and Avyayam. 7 wonderful qualities are mentioned about this great Brahma Vidya. So we have seen few of them. More we will see in our class tomorrow. And then Bhagwan, after praising this self-knowledge, he will reveal that knowledge. That we will see in our class tomorrow. So till then you take care, be happy, safe, peaceful, do your work, do your sadhana, remember Bhagwan, and we meet again tomorrow. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, 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 Jaya Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram. Boliye Syavar Ramachandra Bhagwan ki Jai. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.